Hey guys, this is Jeremy Net here at Permanent Acres, and what you're seeing is the first layering of the refractory lining cement. I mixed up what little sodium silicate I had with my lining compounds and just kind of poured it over the top and let some of it run down there. I did, whenever I brushed off some of that magnesium silicate, got it where the wall side is a little brittle, so kind of peeled away in some spots. So that's why I haven't done anything more beyond it. It's still pretty tacky. I'm going to wait a couple days before I do any additional. There we go, got it to focus in a little bit better. Any additional layering of refractory cement lining. I'll just wait for this to dry up just a little bit and to harden, and then I'll go over and do the next lining layer. So I'll just start kind of working it around. I'll probably do a thinner mixture than what I did for this. I plan on mixing up some more sodium silicate. I'm probably going to include it in the next video, a little bit of it, and did some of it down in the bottom here, and just a little bit on the brick here. I didn't do it real thick, but it's got a decent grit to it now, and I just need to keep adding it as I go. So it's coming along. It's working pretty good, and won't be long. I'll be mixing up a little bit more. I'll probably do it on the next video where I'm mixing it up, because the way it's going right now, I'm probably going to be doing this in probably at least 3 different mixes, more than this. So I'll mix up a bunch off of my next time I make sodium silicate. I'll mix up a bunch. Whenever I make sodium silicate, I will let the sodium silicate cool for a few days before I use it, at least. That way it thickens back up, and once it's cooled down, then I'm going to mix it with the same compounds as I got in this. Well, I guess I've combined them all together, so I guess now it's a compound, but before it was just different ingredients, so I need to stop using the term compound until it's actually everything's combined together, and then it forms a true compound. So here's some of my mix right there. So it is 30% graphite, well, actually about 33.5% graphite, 33.5, let's see, is that right? 33.5, 33. So that's 67%, yeah. So it's 33.5% graphite, 33.5% magnesium silicate. Then the other 33% is aluminum oxide. It's not alumina, zirconia. Mine's not with me this morning. But, oh yeah, that LED light is giving it a little bit of a strobe effect. So yeah, so it's zirconia, aluminum oxide, I believe tantalum carbide, tungsten carbide, and I do not know the other carbide is. I think it was a tricarbide mixture in there. All of them can take real high temperatures. So it works out pretty nice. I've liked it because I used it in my kiln on the top lining. I need to kind of fix the lower lining in the kiln because I just did the I guess what you would call it loose density, or what would they call it? Yeah, I guess it'd be a loose density fire brick, and that's the one drawback of it. It's like I got some fire bricks in here. They work incredibly well at insulating, but they cannot take any form of impact. This is what makes all the difference in the world. You got all the insulating properties of the fire brick itself, and then you add this to it, and this also adds to the insulating factor, but it also increases the strength of that fire brick. Yeah, as far as surface strength, probably at least, as brittle as that brick is, it's probably at least 100 times the way it handles, because I can barely see a brush it, and already getting material coming off. This can handle a ton of heat, but it's really, really soft and brittle. See, it can easily be turned to powder. And then you got one like this, which is the same material, but is coated with that refractory lining cement, and it is hard. I cannot rub anything off of this. It is so rough and tough. I had to pound it on the concrete just to get that little spot where it had a bubble to come off. Right here. See? This is where it had a bubble in it. I did not let this cure long enough, dry out long enough, and whenever I fired it, it formed a bubble in there. It's like one of the only weak spots in the actual outer coating. That's why you gotta let these things dry out. You got to let them fully cure out before you fire them, because if it's still wet, if it's not there, you'll get these bubbles all in it, and it just takes away from the strength of the lining cement. That's the reason why you let this stuff dry out for at least a week. So this is one where I didn't use any of the powder graphite. I used more of a grit graphite in this, and it's got a lot less graphite in it than the mix I got right now. The mix I got right now, it's got a whole lot more, probably about, I'd say at least 30% more graphite in it. But it's the same mix that I used for my kiln top, and it's holding up really well. I like it. So I'll let this dry out. Yeah, that light kind of, well, if it's on bright, seems like it's not as bad. So whenever it goes down to 1,000 lumens, that's when it seems like the frequency starts messing with it real bad. At 2,000 lumens, it ain't too bad. So let's check the sides. Yeah, it's starting to cure out. It's not really dark anymore. It's starting to dry up. Still not all the way there. You can see where it's dry, where it starts turning white. So, got a little ways to go. Once that's fully dried out, then I should be ready. Oh, looks like it dripped down there. That won't matter too much. I'm not going to put any of the lining cement down on these outside edges or anything like that. I'll probably do some on this, a little bit around the lip, and then I still get to fully coat this one heat riser on there, but it's coming along slowly but surely. I think while I'm waiting for my sodium silicate to mix up the batch and everything, I'm probably gonna finally go in and unbolt this, pull that out, and start lining up where I'm going to be putting the barrels for the stratification chamber and where I'm going to put the big old cob mass in. But I also picked up some things I'm going to be using for forming in the mass. Can you guess what these are for? What I'm going to do is I'm going to end up drilling out holes at the bottom to match up the same diameter as this. And when I'm layering up the cob, I'm going to set this up right next to where the hole is. I'm not going to run this all through it because I'm planning on using this aluminum mesh all around where the holes are going to be. On the bottom here, I'm going to use this aluminum mesh. I'm going to run it all the way across, and basically all I'm doing is I'm going to be fencing off the air draws to make sure I don't get any bugs, crickets, spiders, that kind of stuff. Try to keep all the bugs out, everything, and try to keep the air flowing good. So I'm going to do this on the I'm also going to lay a piece of this on the top to cover up the holes, because basically the cold air is going to be drawn through the bottom and it's going to run up through to the top. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut off a small piece. I'm going to do the bottom, and then once that layer is dried, I'm going to pull that piece out. And then when I go to the next layer, then I'll do the elbow up, wait for it to dry, pull that piece out, and then just keep on running it all the way up to the top. And that way I keep on pulling this out, but I'm going to have that whole tube set up right in the cob, and I won't have to run any steel pipe or anything like that. I'm planning on probably reinforcing the cob. I'm thinking about using like maybe fiberglass or something, some kind of mesh in around those edges to help hold the cob together. I don't know. I've been kind of debating about it, so we'll see what I end up doing. I know the straw in the mix tends to be a nice binder for the cob, but I'm thinking about just around where I'm going to have these points, where I'm going to have the air draw and everything. I'm thinking about putting in maybe fiberglass, or maybe even using some of the aluminum mesh, although that's almost too fine of a mesh. But I really, unless I get more of like kind of like chicken wire, like the square grid wire for like brooders or something like that, and see if I can find it in aluminum and just use that to kind of help strengthen the cob around that edge. I don't know. It's one of those things I'm debating. I'm not for sure what exactly I'm going to do with it. I was originally thinking about just using like some PVC pieces and stuff like that, and kind of, but then I was like, okay, then if I do an elbow, how am I going to get out, kind of thing. So I was thinking, well, the foam is flexible and I can coat it. At least with oil or some kind of release agent, and it should, the cob shouldn't bond to it. But I'll kind of look into it and study it a little bit more, but almost there. There's my shop vac. See, vacuumed up a lot of magnesium and some fire brick dust in there. Alright, I'm gonna quit yammering on and let you guys go. This is Jay signing off. Later.